Hi, everyone. It's Sergeant Ranjan with Uniform Recruitment, and thank you for joining me on another session of Ask Me Anything. As we wait for people to hop on all of our platforms, I'm just going to go over a few things that are coming up, information that would be helpful for you as you pursue this career. Again, like always, chat box on the right, please list your questions in there and I will make sure I try my best, hopefully this time, to answer all of them. And certainly any questions regarding the hiring process or any other questions that you may have about the OPP or policing in general, that's what I'm here to answer. Okay, so looking forward to it. A few items that I want to get off the right off the hop here. If you go on opp.ca/, events, that's where you will see all of our upcoming events in chronological order. You'll get information on each specific event and how to register for them or where the location is for you to attend. Okay. August 8th, actually, August 8th is one of our information sessions that we're hosting. It's specifically for the auxiliary program. So if you're interested in the volunteering program that we offer with the OPP, please register for that event. You can go on, again, like I said, opp.ca/events, August 8th, register for it, and you can understand what that process is all about. As you know, we host multiple shuttle run events for you to attend in person, meet the recruiters, also have your fitness assessment done in person as we test you on it. Again, level 7 on the shuttle run is what we are going to be testing you for. The ones that are coming up, we have one this month, essentially multiple ones, Niagara, Etobicoke, Bolton, Blue Mountain, Barrie. So again, all the locations will be listed on our events page. So please hop on there. So you're able to register and attend. And, that way you get to engage with the recruiter and also speak to them about maybe possible questions that you may have either about the recruitment process or things that may impact you as a candidate and you want to understand how you can get that addressed, right? So that'll be a great way for you to kind of meet us. August 26th and 27th, we will be in Ottawa for our bilingual bound event. Registration is still open. We host these sessions at La Cité College. So again, it's a very engaging, informative session. It's a 2-day event for you to participate in. So if that is something that you are looking to attend, we look forward to seeing your application submission for the bound. August 13th, we're hosting a women's focused event in Hamilton at Mohawk College, hosted by our own recruiting officer, Abby. So again, time's still available for you to register for this. Again, it's specifically for our female candidates. So again, August 13th, look forward to seeing many of you there. I just checked this morning and there are still spots still available for you to sign up for that event. So look forward to seeing you there. Tomorrow, August 6th, actually, we have our constable information session at our Aurelia detachment. This is where you show up to the detachment. You're able to engage with one of our members and go over essentially what it's. One, you can kind of see where the Aurelia detachment is. You'll be in the boardroom. The sessions are hosted in the detachment boardroom, but please sign up so you get the spot to attend that one. August 7th, we have our virtual information session, which will be hosted for you to engage with no matter where you are logging in from. It's always very engaging, informative, and fun. So I encourage you to log on virtually if you're not able to attend for our in-person sessions. And finally, on August 28th, we'll be hosting our women's information session at Mississauga Detachment. So if HSD is the region that you're looking to work or potentially be posted at, come on out. Especially this is a women's focus event. So for those of you that are looking to stay in the GTA and want to know what it's like to maybe speak to a member at the Mississauga Detachment or see what the situation is there, please sign up and attend that one, so you can speak to a recruiter but also understand what that situation is like. Okay. And August 14, 15, 16, I promise it's the last one. Honda Indy. We're going to be at Honda Indy all 3 days. It's the first time that's happening in Markham, in that city there, Markham Vaughan. So please come on by. We'll be there, or we'll have our whole setup. You can get into our cruisers, engage with recruiters every single day. And it's always a great time out with great weather. So please come on by as we will all be there. Hope many of you had a really good long weekend as we get back to it. I had a few calls on the past Thursday, July 30th, because that is when our graduating class received their badges from the commissioner. Our team was there to congratulate all the new recruits that just ended their training and now will be reporting to other attachments. I just want to take the time to wish them all the very best. Although one part of the training is complete, now they switch gears and they're going into another part of their training, which is their probationary year. So essentially everything that they learned in a training environment, now they will be out there doing the job and essentially, getting into the role with their coach officer. So, I wish them all the very best. I was a recruit once, I was a coach officer once. So again, I know what that is like, and a lot of our officers will be very nervous reporting for their first day of duty. So certainly, I wish them all the very best. In saying that, I have been receiving some emails and phone calls from those of you that have been getting the job offer, as our class reports on August 30th for our next intake coming up, less than a month away. For those of you that received the job offer, again, congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you out there, whether it's in the training environment or on the road. And for those of you that are still waiting, by your phone to get that call, hopefully you get that call to join the intake for August 30th. And for those of you that are, starting the process, or whether you're midway in the process, rest assured, all your hard work and efforts will eventually culminate with you getting the job offer. You have to believe that, right? It's a mindset. So hopefully that is what is coming for you. Okay, I see people are throwing in questions already. I'm already behind the 8 ball, so I'm going to try to see if I can get some questions to the answers to the question. Let's try the answers to the question going. Right off the bat here, can an international individual get recruited by the OPP? Various ways I can answer that question. As long as you meet the minimum qualifications, yes, you may apply, because we do have people that are, living abroad, working abroad, but that are, that meet the qualifications to be a police officer. So again, maybe I'll go over what the specific qualifications or mandatory minimum requirement be a police officer, so that way you understand. So to apply to the OPP, and this is specifically just for the OPP, you have to be minimum 18 years of age or older. There's no age cutoff. You have to be 18 years of age. You have to be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. Again, you have to have a Ontario secondary school diploma. So essentially, you need to have your high school diploma. That's the basic requirement from an education level. You have to have a Class G driver's license, no more than 6 demerit points, no criminal record. You have to be able to read, write, and speak English fluently. And you have to have your standard first aid and level C CPR. And finally, yes, there is a running test that you have to be able to pass, which is level 7 on the shuttle run. So those are the requirements that you need to meet to apply. Again, if you're living abroad in another part of the world, if you meet those requirements, you are eligible to apply to be a police officer, no matter where you are living. But if you don't meet, for example, the permanent resident requirement or the Canadian citizen requirement, you have to obtain either one of those for you to be eligible to apply. Okay, so hopefully I answered that question for you. How can we prepare for the OPP physical test? So in the current hiring process, as we have set forth, the only physical testing that we are putting you through is your ability to reach level 7 on the shuttle run. We will test you once at the start of the process and once after you receive your job offer. So again, shuttle run, level 7. That is what you need to know. You can attend many of our in-person shuttle run sessions that we host across the province. Please come on by. If you don't know what the shuttle run is all about, what the testing is all about, how the process is done, please come by. It's free for you to attend. You can come, you can watch. I see many people that actually attend the session. They don't even run the session. They are there just to watch and see what happens and how they can prepare for it. They even sometimes talk to their fellow attendees to see, get tips and tricks in terms of how you can prepare for it. So again, you learn a lot by first attending, right? That is the first hurdle that you can overcome. Prep test, all those things are done after you are hired and when you're in a training environment. But for the hiring process, the only thing that you need to meet is level 7 on the shuttle run. Okay. Another question here. I've just finished my psych interview. Usually, how long before we get a response from the OPP? So our process from start to finish, it could be anywhere from 4 to 6 months. I've seen our process is actually much quicker on the 4 month, sometimes even less than that. So depending on the stage you're currently at, especially if you just finished your psych testing or whether it's written or your interview, you're at the latter part of our hiring process. I would say just be patient. There's multiple candidates that are being assessed at the same time. So once you complete your testing, we need time to assess the test result. So please be patient. If you want, certainly you can email us at opphire@opp.ca just to get an update on your file. But I would say patience is the key when you're at the latter stages of the process, because again, it's coming down to crunch time and the final evaluation. So be patient. You'll hear back from us. Okay. Same thing here. How long does the background investigation take? Again, it depends on various situations. Not every single file is evaluated the same, in the sense that one person might have a lot of employment history, or they maybe lived abroad, maybe they traveled and worked at different countries. That file takes a lot more time to go through and follow up on, right? Whereas somebody that has maybe lived in the same address, worked at one place their entire career, might not take a long time for it to be assessed. So again, each file is assessed on its own merit. So we just ask that you, especially when you get to the latter parts, such as the psych and the background investigation stages, to have a bit of patience as we work through your application, your references, the people that we speak to. It takes a lot of time for us to do that and evaluate that. So again, patience is the key, especially when you're at the latter part of the hiring process. Okay. I finished everything in the process and I'm just waiting for the call. Yes, that's the call you want. Do you know how long it takes to receive a call? Thank you. I hope your day's going well. Well, that's what that was my messaging at the start of the session, right? We're filling the class on August 30th. That's the first reporting date for our new intake. I was literally on the phone with one of my staff sergeants who, essentially looks at the offer, looks at where the person is being posted, reviews it. Again, there's a lot of moving parts. If you finished everything and you're just waiting for the call, it's probably very nerve-wracking, because again, you probably put so much work and effort into getting to the final stage. So you're just waiting for that call. Patience is the key here. So hope for the best. You have to think positive. You have to fully be invested in the process. And certainly you'll get the call, and hopefully it's my manager that makes it. Maybe, who knows, I might make the call. You never know who you're gonna get the call from. But again, look, just be patient as you wait for it, since you're all done. Okay. Here, let me see if I can look for a question that I haven't answered. How accommodating is OPP on placement? Because my preference is GTA. Also, I've completed my psych with another service in April 2026. Is it valid, or would I complete another one with the OPP? Okay, so if you prefer GTA, again, that's why we have 6 detachment postings that you can pick from. So in our process, you can pick 6 detachments across the whole province, and you would rate them from your first choice, number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then when your file gets to the placing for a job offer, now we look at the whole situations. We would look at the organizational needs, and we will also look at your needs and see if we can marry them up together and see if we can give you one of the choices that you picked. That's always our goal. Is it possible all the time? Sometimes it's not, but again, that's where we come. We would work with you to see if there's any alternative that you would consider. So in saying that, wait to hear back from us. Be patient, wait to hear back from us when we call you, because usually when we call you, our first line is, congratulations, and we want to give you probationary constable position. And the second line is always, this is where we are posting you. So you actually know where you're going to be posted before you even accept the job offer, which is very, very important. And then you get the chance to speak to your family, your dependents, all the people that are impacted by your decision, right, to see if that makes sense for you. Again, so I would say please be patient as you wait for it. If you completed a psych with another service, usually your psych results are valid for 1 year. So usually we would take that testing result from the other service and we would assess it for our standard. So we won't make you write it again unless there's a requirement for that to be done, right? So again, just be patient to hear back from us. What is the process of becoming a sergeant with the OPP? Is there extra training and testing? Yes. So I'm in my position currently. I am a sergeant with the OPP within the Uniform Recruitment Unit. Every single police officer that's hired, is hired as a provincial constable. And if through your work or through other avenues you want to enter the promotional process, there is an internal hiring process that you would have to go through, which includes interview, exams, and presentations that you would have to conduct or do in front of the panel, in front of the hiring panel. So again, I was successful. I was successful the second time around. The first time I went through the competition, I was not successful. Certainly, I still want to pursue it again and give it my all. And the second time, I was successful in being promoted to a sergeant. Obviously, in the sergeant role, you're assuming a higher leadership role, a leadership position. You're working with teams, you're leading teams, you're supporting team members to meet the organizational and the unit's goals. So it is a lot. It's a lot, but certainly if the leadership is your passion and leading people and working with people is something that you really enjoy, certainly the sergeant role, it's a great role, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, I would say. You can continue on the promotional process as you want to, whether it's a staff sergeant, inspector, superintendent, chief superintendent, deputy commissioner, and all the way up to the commissioner, right? Even the commissioner started off as a provincial constable or as an officer. So again, depending on where your passion takes you, if you want to climb all the way to the top, then nothing will stop you, right? So yeah, certainly from that perspective. Question here. Could I be posted or offered a different detachment other than the 6 detachments I choose? Yes, that's possible. Certainly we try our best to offer you one of the 6 that you pick. But if there's one that we're not able to offer you because the position is not available in the detachment that you have picked, certainly we'll still offer you the job and offer you a position maybe based on what's available. And then it's up to you to either accept it or decline it based on your personal and family situation. Again, that's more, we can have more conversations, and usually our managers will have a conversation with you if there are, mitigating factors that, either provide you with challenges of accepting any other positions other than the ones that you choose. So again, this is something that we will work with you on. Okay. Can I apply as a Quebec resident with a Quebec license? My intention is to move my family to Ontario. Yes, you can. As long as you have a valid driver's license, no matter if it's from any of our provinces across Canada, it's acceptable. Certainly, if you're an international applicant, that would be different. But certainly, if you have any provincial license, that's acceptable. You can apply with that. Okay. If I pass my shuttle run with a different service, is that applicable when applying to the OPP? No, it would just have to be the OPP shuttle run process, and you can do our shuttle runs in 2 methods: one in person, one virtually. So if you choose to do your shuttle run virtually, usually we will send you a video link where you can self-record. Essentially, you can set up the 20-meter parameter wherever you choose to, properly an ideal running flat surface. You can record your 20-meter shuttle run in one full segment without it being cut off into multiple segments. And then you can share that link with us. And one of our recruiters and our fitness appraisers will review your virtual shuttle run submission, make sure it meets the standards that we've set forth, and then meets the level 7 expectation. If it does, now your file moves on to the next stage. The other way that you can do this is also by attending our in-person shuttle run session. You can attend our in-person shuttle run session. If you get level 7 on the shuttle run, we will give you a 30-day certificate. Essentially, what that allows you to do is submit your application and bypass the fitness stage in our process, which is stage number 2. So essentially, if you submit the certificate as part of your application, you can now bypass that stage and move on right to your screening and interview selection phase. Okay, so hopefully that's something that's also enticing, because I find many people that attend our in-person session, again, you're running with people. Whereas if you're doing the self-recording, you're running by yourself. So in person, again, is a bit more motivating. It's a bit more energetic. And we even have one of our recruiters that will run with you to make sure you get to level 7 at the end. So that's always a positive too. Anytime we make Mark run more than he has to, it's a great thing for us. So again, these are different avenues that you can utilize for you to attend and achieve your level 7. Okay. Where does the interview take place? In the application process. So after you submit the application, you know what? Great segue into why not touch on that, right? In terms of what their process looks like. So for the OPP, again, this is specifically just for the OPP. Our application process would start initially with the application submission. You would go on to opp.ca/careers and essentially start your portal. This is your online portal where you would create a username and login. And essentially you would go into the portal, submit all the paperwork that we're asking you. There's a lot of information that we ask you in this portal. Please don't rush. Take your time. Take your time to put all the information that we're looking for in detail and in depth. So that way, when we receive it, this is the first picture that we have of you as a candidate based on everything that you put in there, the information. Even the paragraphs that you write for each of the areas of assessment. Again, we're looking at your reading, your writing, your punctuation. All these things are being assessed, right? So once the application is submitted, stage 2 is our shuttle run assessment. So whether it's in person or on the virtual platform, again, this is where we assess your fitness standard, ensuring that you're capable of meeting level 7. If you meet level 7, now you move on to the third part of the hiring process, which is the pre-screening assessment phase, where we review your entire application that you submitted, essentially to ensure that you're a competitive candidate that we're looking for. If you are, now you move on to stage number 4, which is our local focus interview and our essential competency interview. It's a blended interview. It's a one-on-one interview, and it's done virtually. So when you get your interview requirement, we will send you a meeting link, and you would pop up on your screen, and you would usually call in from your home, and essentially you would speak to a recruiter like myself on the other side of the screen, and essentially we will go over everything. The whole interview is about you. We talk about everything that you bring to the table, why you want to pursue this profession. We essentially dive into everything that makes you who you are, to see if you're the right fit for us, if you're the type of candidate that we're looking for. And certainly once the interview is complete, if it is so, your file, if you're successful, you will move on to the background investigation stage and the psychological assessment phase of the hiring process. Once that is complete, a final review is done on you as an applicant. This is where we look at everything that we've compiled throughout the entire process. And then certainly, we make a decision. We make a decision on if you're the person that we want to hire. If so, then you would get that call from us. You'll get a call from one of our managers, essentially offering the job offer. We're currently hiring 4 times a year. So every 3 months, a class is being hired. The next one being on August 30th is the next intake, where people will, all the recruits that we've hired will essentially show up for their orientation week. Usually everybody reports Sunday evening. They check in at our general headquarters in OPP in Reapplication. And then they check in, and then obviously training starts Monday morning. So they check in Sunday evening, and the training starts early Monday morning. So again, it's a memorable time in terms of all your hard work, culmination of all your hard work coming into the finalization there. Okay. Let's see. I think I missed a couple of questions here. What advice can you provide to someone who completed the entire process and got deferred at the end with no specific reason? Is it worth applying again? Yes, absolutely. And this happens, although it's disappointing, which I know exactly where you're coming from. I speak to many candidates that, I feel the question when they get this feedback. Again, it is disappointing. You put so much work and effort into it, and then when you're not selected, it is disappointing. One thing that you should be aware of, it's a competitive process. Unfortunately, we can't hire every single person that applies. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of applications every single day that are being submitted, and our class per intake, so 4 times a year per intake, we're not going anywhere more than 130, if that, right? 130 people. So again, it is a challenging and competitive process. So if you were not selected, again, do the best you can to self-assess, see where you can improve, see if there are areas that you can improve, so that way when you apply again, you come back as a stronger candidate. We can all improve. We all have areas that we can be better at, improve at. I think that's where the challenge becomes for you to kind of identify what that area is, or maybe there are areas in your overall application that you can even improve as a candidate. And you know what? That leads me to what you should consider looking at and reviewing. So we have what we've created as areas of assessment. So these 10 areas of assessment is what we assess you on when you submit the application, when you're at the interview stage, when you're at the background stage. All these items are what we look through in terms of the lens of what you're being assessed on. So let me just go through that real quick. Again, you can find this on our website or on our social media platforms. So starting with education, you have to have a high school diploma. That is a basic requirement for you to even apply to be an officer. But again, you can take it a step further. You can go, you might have college diploma, you might have post-secondary, you might have graduate. Maybe there are, grades that you can improve on. And you can do that by taking online courses, certificate courses. There are a lot of free courses that are even being offered by many educational entities and universities, colleges. So these are things that you can actually take, or even trade school, to be competitive in this specific area. If that's something maybe you need to improve on. Lifestyle and life experience. Again, these are things that we look for in a suitable police officer. We want to make sure the officer that we hire, or the person that we hire, lives the type of lifestyle that would be we would be proud to say, you know what, that person works for us. That person represents the OPP. So again, we're going to look at what sort of lifestyle you currently lead or have led. Again, this is something that you have control in terms of what you do. Okay. Community service. Many people get really concerned about this area. Many people feel, you know what, they just don't have the time or the capacity or the energy to contribute to this area. But again, this is one of the areas that we assess you on. So two ways of looking at this, formal and informal. Formal volunteering is where, maybe every Sunday you go to the food bank, you provide maybe 2 hours of help, sorting out food items, or helping people. That's formal volunteering. Informal volunteering could be, maybe you cut the grass for your neighbor every Sunday because that, they're elderly or they're not able to do it. That would be considered informal volunteering. And many of us do provide our time, give back our time to other people, to help people out. You just have to be able to articulate that in the application or in your interview. So again, this just takes some reflection for you to really dive into what you do, right? Employment. When you submit the application, you're required to submit all your past employment history along with your current one. This is something that we assess you on based on what sort of employee you were. Whether you were, someone that showed up to work on a consistent basis, were you a engaging employee, were you contributing to the success of that organization, right? So we're going to look at all the things that, make up your employment history. We will assess that. Leadership, that's another area of assessment that we look at. Again, you're signing up for a leadership position. As a police officer, you're expected to act, take lead, take charge when you show up to a situation. So in your application or in your interview or in your background, again, we want you to highlight and showcase to us what sort of leadership, experience you have. Maybe you have done things in your personal life or your professional life or in your work life where you've taken on a leadership role. We want to hear about it. We want you to tell us how you led people, how you led a situation, how you problem solve, right? These are the things that we're looking for when it comes to leadership. Driving. So your driving history is something that we look at. You have to have a full G license with no more than 6 demerit points, which is a requirement. But again, we want to know what sort of driving experience you have. Do you have special driver training? Do you hold the M license, or do you hold the AZ license? So all these different requirements speaks to your driving ability and your driving experience. So we want you to tell us about it. Why? Because as a police officer, your office is your cruiser, right? That is where your day-to-day work will take place. So we want to make sure that, you're a strong, confident driver and that you're able to do your job in that way. Your communication skills, that's being assessed no matter at the application stage or at the interview stage, and throughout the whole entire process. We're going to assess your reading, writing, and comprehension of your English language. If you speak another language, that's great. That will be considered special skills, but certainly your ability to communicate is very, very important. special skills. If you speak a second language, that will be considered a special skill. If maybe you're a black belt in karate, maybe you have your pilot's license. Again, no matter what sort of experience you have prior to joining our service, that would all be considered special skills, because again, that's a skill set that you're already bringing to the table, to the organization on your own accord, right? Motivation. That's a simple one. We want to know why you want to be a police officer. That is a must. And you can probably expect that question is going to be asked of you in the interview. Why do you want to be a police officer? It's a very challenging profession. Certainly, it takes a lot out of you. A lot is expected of you by the public. So certainly, you want to make sure you're choosing this profession for all the right reasons, right? And finally, the 10th area there is the physical and mental well-being, physical and mental fitness. We want to make sure that you're not only physically ready for you to be able to meet the level 7 on the shuttle run, but you also have your mental health that you look after. So that way you're taking time for yourself to recuperate, rejuvenate, so that way every day you show up, you're showing up at 100% to do this job, right? So those are the 10 areas that we're going to assess you on when you're going through the process. So please take a look at it. If you're not successful at any part of our hiring stages, assess yourself based on these 10 areas, see where you can improve, because I'm pretty sure you will probably find the answer that you're looking for if you just take the time to assess yourself. Okay, great question though. Thank you for that. Moving right along here, I'm waiting for my credentials to be evaluated by WES, which should take about a few weeks. Do I need to provide the evaluation at that start of the process? Yes. So you would have to provide that as part of your education submission, especially when it comes to evaluating your education standards. So that would have to be submitted as part of your application. Okay. If you get deferred from one service, does that automatically mean they cannot apply to another service? No, that's not true. If you were deferred from one service, you can still apply to the OPP. And what would happen is we would still assess your application and determine your suitability for our standards. So don't neglect to submit the application. Many people that have been rejected by other services for various reasons were able to go through our hiring process and still be hired. So again, depending on the situation, there are a lot of different circumstances that come into play with that type of a scenario. But let us do the paperwork side of it. Let us do the reaching out to the service that you were deferred by, and let us make the decision on if you're suitable or not. Okay. Do the credentials of a border service officer employed by the Canada Border Services Agency have any bearing on the selection process for the OP? Absolutely. Well, right off the bat, you are in a law enforcement role. The only difference is you won't be able to apply as an experienced officer. You would still have to go through the regular hiring process as a regular police officer. But certainly the experience you bring to the table, the investigative knowledge, the skills, the interactions with the public, all these skill sets that you would have would be a benefit for you as you transition into a policing role. You probably won't have that much of a hard time in terms of situating yourself in this new role, but you would still have to go through the application process as a regular recruit. Okay. Great questions, everybody. Really good questions today. Any advice for someone applying from a permanent position with OPS? I'm currently an inspector with the Ministry of Public and Business. So the great thing about you being an OPS employee, I assume that it's a civilian position that you're currently in. You're part of the wider OPS umbrella. As you know, OPP is part of the Interior Public Service. When you apply to the OPP, what you're able to bring over is your current salary. You don't need to take a pay cut. You would be able to stay at your current salary band as you go through our entire process, whether it's at the training phase, at the probationary phase, and essentially you would keep the same salary, and you would essentially, as the pay rate catches up to yours, then you would continue on upwards, right? So which is a huge benefit for those of you that are applying part of the OPS umbrella. Again, it's just something that, you know, many other people maybe outside of the organization, such as OPS or coming from a different sector, they would have to, you know, start at the recruit class salary. Whereas for you, that would not be something you would have to do. Great question. Am I able to start my application even though I have not yet got my full G license, so that when I receive it, I can just hit the submit button? Yes, that's exactly it. So please, you can absolutely do that. So once you get all the information on your portal, you can save your portal and just keep it on standby. And once you get your G license, now you can add that information onto the portal, which will then complete your application, bringing it to 100% complete. And at that point, you can submit the application, which then we would receive and then assess. So yes, absolutely. Why wait till the last minute? Slowly work towards it. Add all the information that you require, and then that way, when you're ready to submit and go through the process, it's an easy task, right? So yeah, great way to prepare for the process. I'm currently an auxiliary member with the OPP and have been for 4 months. Is that too soon to apply to the regular recruit stream? Okay, let me put it to you this way. So you've been an auxiliary officer for 4 months. In the 4 months, do you truly feel like you've learned everything that you need to learn on the auxiliary position side? If you think so, there's nothing stopping you from applying. But again, the whole point that you probably did apply to the auxiliary program was to truly learn what the organization was about, what the position was about, maybe even get the chance to go on ride-alongs or take part in community events, right? You really want to give yourself as much time to soak up the information, learn and grow as a member. Again, we're accepting applications 365 days a year, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So please take the time. Don't rush your decision. Make sure you're a strong candidate, you're a competitive candidate, because again, when you submit for the constable stream and you go through it, it is a very, very competitive process. So ensure that you're ready for it and you're prepared for it. So when you apply, you have the best shot of being hired. Okay. Another question here about the OACP certificate. Does the OPP require it? No, the OPP does not require the OACP certificate. If you do have it already, you can absolutely submit as part of our hiring process, but you do not need to go and get it if it's not something that you do not have. Okay, there is a cost associated with getting the OACP certificate, so we do not require for our constable hiring process. I know many of the municipal services do require it. So if you are applying to more than one service, including the OPP, yes, then you would need to get that, but OPP does not require that certificate. Question here: how are transfers decided after completing the required time at a northern detachment if multiple constables want to move to the detachment? So duration complete members are given top priority. So that's a great way for us to recognize and thank you for your service. So if you have taken a duration posting, once your duration complete, you naturally will be given the top slot. You'd be, even if there are many people waiting on the list to get into a specific detachment, you would bypass all the people waiting and you would go to the top of the waiting list for the posting selection. It's a way for the organization to thank you and your service for helping us out, and in return, we're helping you out to go to the detachment that you have wanted to go to. Okay, so that is how I look at that. Question here regarding the EPO applications. What level of experience makes for the strongest application? Would you encourage officers to apply soon after completing probation, or is it generally better to gain a few more years of policing experience? Again, the key word in the experienced police officer application, first word, experience. So that's how I would phrase that. If you're applying right off the bat after you finish the probationary period with your service, again, you are eligible to apply. Once your probation complete, naturally you are eligible to apply for the EPO process. But be aware when you go through the experienced police officer interview and the process. Again, it speaks to your experience that you bring to the table as an officer. So again, that is what I would leave you with to think about, because if you are lacking experience, the people that you're competing for are coming with maybe 5 years experience, 10 years experience, 15 years of experience. So again, just be aware that is who you're competing with. So you know what, having the knowledge, having the base and the foundation of policing will probably help you, and really help you grow as an officer, understand yourself as an officer, so that way when you go through the EPO process, you show yourself to be a strong one. Okay, so that's how I would explain that. What happens if I defer my offer due to uncontrollable and emergency situations? Would I be provided a spot in the next class? Life happens. We understand that. There are many candidates that things come up, whether it's on a personal level, things of that nature. So yes, we will work with you. We've invested a lot of time, money, and energy into the recruitment process that you're going through. And if you're a competitive candidate, and certainly if we want to offer you a job offer and we gave you a job offer, certainly we're going to work with you to see how we can get you into our next possible intake, taking into consideration maybe the situations that you're going through. And we assess that on a case-by-case basis, depending on what that parameter is. Usually our managers will handle those type of calls, speak to you about it, and certainly address it as on a case-by-case basis. Okay, so thank you for that good question. I feel like I've been pretty good at answering most of them today, but maybe in case I missed it. A question here: if I failed the PIN test before with another service, aside from passing the shuttle run, will I need to pass it again? So again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, in our process, the only test that we currently assess you on is the shuttle run. That is the only test that you do, and you have to get level 7. We do assess your PIN test as part of the overall fitness assessment when you report to duty, whether at the provincial academy, and you would do that as part of the full cohort, for the full recruit class as a team building exercise. Again, that's where you would do the PIN test, achieving over 75% to achieve your PIN. Certainly I have my PIN here. I've been getting it every year. I'm going into my 13th year. I actually have my PIN coming up later this month for my PIN. Again, my hopes is to get my PIN each year, every single year, for the 30 years. I hope to see myself do that. So again, that is something you'll do as an entire team when you're in the training environment, when you're at the academy. Okay, just so you're aware of that. Is there a deadline date for giving offer of employment to candidates prior to the intake? Yes, we do have a deadline date, but again, there's many things that happen. Sometimes people, situations change, or they had to back out of a class. So now we will try to fill that class with another person that's on the waiting list. So there's a lot of things that happen right up to the date of, sometimes even literally the day before reporting. We try not to do that. We want to make sure we give ample time to our candidates to get their personal affairs in order before they go for training. But again, things do happen, and sometimes we have to fill a class at the last minute. So yes, to answer your question, yes, usually there is a cutoff date, but certainly, sometimes things happen. So again, we try to fill it as right to the end there. Some of the other questions I missed here, I just want to make sure I have not missed anything. Let me see if there's anything else that I missed here. Next OPP shuttle run dates in Scarborough, Markham, and Mississauga. Yes, we will be having shuttle runs throughout the GTA. Please visit opp.ca/events, and you will see the ones that are coming up. Again, we try to move our shuttle runs all over the different areas throughout the province. One of the challenges for us is obviously location, securing location, such as a gym, availability of gym, right? So these are the things we also take into consideration. So again, if these are places that you're looking for, please be patient while we secure locations, and eventually we're able to offer them for you. Okay. Thank you so much for answering the question. I'll stay patient. Also, I'm in Listowel for the OPP shuttle run. Will you be attending? Well, definitely we will be attending. Will I be attending? Sometimes I do attend. But again, there's so many events that me and my team are responsible for. So we can't all be at the same place. We try to divide and conquer. But you know what? Certainly if I'm there, please come on by and say hello. All right. Question here. I completed my formal education 9 years ago. Can I use my workplace trainer as a reference under education? They can speak about my ability to learn and my performance at work. Absolutely. You can definitely do that. When you're going to the interview stage, we do ask for 3 personal, 3 education, and 3 employment references. So certainly, someone that you have worked for, or an organization that you have worked for, if there was someone in the capacity that trained you or taught you, and they can speak to your ability to learn, that is exactly who you want to put because I know some of you have graduated from schooling such a long time ago. It's not possible for you to go ask for references from those teachers or educators, and we understand that. So we want you to, pick people that are in a capacity of teaching, capacity of coaching, that can essentially speak to your ability to retain information and essentially understand what you're being taught, and you're able to then go out and perform the duties or the tasks that you're being taught. So again, that is a great example of you meeting that requirement. Okay. Um, Question here. Hi, I met you at the Spartan event in Collingwood back in October. I made it through the application process, but unfortunately, I was deferred. I'm taking the time to make myself more competitive for the next time around. I've gotten my open water divers, advanced diving, and finishing up my ASL at Georgian. I'm also getting hands-on experience on working at Waypoint for mental health. Would you have any advice for younger applicants who have been deferred? So, yeah, I met a lot of people at the Collingwood event for Spartan. So, thanks for hopping on the session, and appreciate you putting in the comment. Reading through what you've just mentioned there, that shows me that you have motivation. Although you were declining the process, you didn't sulk on that. You didn't let that deter you. What you've done is essentially took that as a challenge to really, enhance or level up your ability. And it's so nice to see that, especially as a young candidate. You mentioned yourself to be a young candidate, so absolutely go with this approach. See where you can improve. See how you can enhance yourself. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me, opp@opp.ca. And then, I'd love to talk to you about it, just to see where you're headed and give you a bit of, points, or even some things from what you had mentioned there. So certainly I would love to do that. Yeah, please reach out to us, and certainly let's see if we can get you on the right path so you're successful the next time you go in our process. Okay. Are expenses covered if you have been relocated for property owners? So when you are applying as a brand new cadet or brand new officer, we do not cover the expenses of any of those house sales or moving expenses. Once you're an officer with us and you're going through internal competitions for promotional purposes, yes, at that point we will cover your expenses, whether it's moving, selling your houses. All those things are covered through that portion. But the one expense that we do cover as a brand new applicant is your OPC fees. So when you're going to the Ontario Police College, all the fees are covered for you, and you're obviously not paying any money for the training. You're actually being paid as a cadet, and obviously as you go through probationary constable's scale to 4th class, 3rd class, 2nd class, and 1st class, now you're being paid at those levels. So that's the only difference. But the other expenses, moving expenses and things of that nature, are not covered as a brand new recruit. Okay. What advice would I give to a high school student about to start post-secondary education if they want to pursue law enforcement? Yeah, absolutely. Certainly, complete your education. Do the best you can. Apply yourself, no matter what the specialty is that you're undertaking in post-secondary. The habits that you learn at the educational institution essentially translate later on, because when you go to the Ontario Police College, you are put back in a learning environment where you have to, study, you have to pass exams. So those are very similar to what you will experience at the post-secondary education system. But again, the good habits that you learn from there it'll essentially help you as you go down the line. That's what I would say. But make sure you complete your education, because again, education is one of the areas of assessment that we have when you go through the hiring process. Okay, so just so you're aware of that. Is it mandatory to be an auxiliary member before applying to become a provincial constable? No, you do not need to do that. Although I'm here speaking to you about the uniform position, there are other positions that we hire for. We hire for civilian positions, we hire for special constable positions, we hire for auxiliary positions, which is a volunteer position. So I'll talk about that a bit. I know we always talk about the constable position, but sometimes I feel like I don't do justice to talk about the other positions. So let's take civilian employment, for example. We are always hiring civilian employment opportunities for civilian employment opportunities. Our dispatchers, for example, that work at the provincial communication centers, they are civilians. They are our lifelines for all the officers that are on the front line. They are our lifeline. So when you pick up the phone and call 911, our call takers and dispatchers are the ones that are taking down the information and then dispatching that call to an officer that's then acting on that call. Again, they play a very, very crucial part. Even if you go to our detachments or if you're at our general headquarters, there are many civilians that make up the OPP. If you're interested in a civilian role, please attend our website or go on to our Government of Interior website, where we post all of our civilian roles. Again, civilian roles does not have any of the uniform requirements, such as the fitness testing or any of that nature. It's usually the application submission for the position that you're applying for, interview, and the job offer, right? That's usually how it works. Special constable positions are also available. If you're not interested in the full police officer uniform position and you're only looking for a special constable position, please go on our website. We have special constables that work at detachments, that work as court officers, that work at offender transport, that work as offender transport officers, that work at Queen's Park. So again, a lot of different roles that are available for you as a special constable position. Again, that is something I would also encourage you to look into if you're looking for something different. Our auxiliary position is a volunteer position. That's the only position. There's no pay involved, but certainly, that position, many people use that as a stepping stone to enter policing. If they're not sure about if policing is the path that they want to undertake. The auxiliary position, you're able to work at detachments, work with officers. You're able to attend calls for service. You're able to take part in community events. Essentially, you truly get to do everything that police officers do. You understand how the organization functions. And you know what? That gives you a lot of knowledge and insight and information about being a police officer. And if that is something that you're interested in, certainly now you can transition and apply for the constable role. Or if you just enjoy being a auxiliary officer, but you want to do your own thing on the side in terms of maybe you already have a career or you have a different job that you truly enjoy, now you can have the best of both worlds. You can still be a part of your organization as a volunteer member through the auxiliary program while you still have your own private thing going. So again, some alternative options for you to consider. Okay. Question here: if I reapply to the OPP, do I have to start my application from scratch? Yes, you do. I know. This is another question that I get all the time, because usually if you were deferred in our process, it's a 1-year wait before you can apply to us again. When you apply again after that 1 year, again, 1 year is a long time where there's a lot of change, personal growth, or things that you've done that we want to make sure it's all captured. So we want to utilize a new application for updated information showing us what you've done to improve from your previous application. So again, we do require a new application, new information. And again, you want to make sure you get the chance to speak about everything that you've done since that year where you were deferred. And you get the the ability to sell yourself as you go through the new application stage, right? So it just helps you, and obviously helps us assess you in a better way. All right. What is the biggest mistake you see people make in the interview process? Wow, it's only 5 minutes to go. How does time fly? I honestly think I did a good job this time, though, answering a lot of the questions, or maybe I missed a few. But what is the biggest mistake I see people make in the interview? Preparation. I find a lot of people that aren't maybe successful or really struggle through the interview, they're not prepared for the interview itself. For example, if you're coming into the interview, please take the time to do a bit of research on the organization that you're applying for, right? So if you're coming into an OPP interview for a constable position, going onto the OPP website to understand what the OPP is as an organization, who the leaders of the organization are, maybe the command team, for example, who the commissioner of the OPP is, that would be a good start. Maybe reading the OPP annual report, right? That captures what the OPP is focusing on. It kind of gives you the ability to understand the organization, know about it, and be better prepared for the questions that we may ask you. Go on our social media platforms, OPP Careers. Again, we're on multitude of platforms. We post a lot of information. We share a lot of info. Attend one of our events. We have so many events that we host across the province. even just attending one event will really give you the insight, and it'll give you the knowledge base that you can talk about in terms of how you have been involved in understanding the OPP as an organization. The second point I would make is know your application. You're submitting an application, and when we ask you questions about your application, whether it's your experience, your educational requirements, make sure you understand and know it. You should know your application. You're the best. No one else should be knowing anything about it other than you. So if you're struggling to articulate answers to the questions we ask about you, it's going to be a long interview. So make sure you're prepared and ready for it, because that is what I would focus on. Nervousness, the nerves are part of it. I think many people do feel nerves when they are sitting in front of the screen getting ready for the interview, and the first few questions you're nervous. Don't worry about it. That's normal. We understand that. And we as recruiters, we will make sure we coach you and get you comfortable as you go through the process. But again, it's up to you to make sure you answer the question to the best of your ability. If there's a question that you miss or you totally just zonk it, don't worry about it. There's many questions we ask of you and about you, and for examples for. So just let it go and just focus on the next question. Don't dwell on the one that you didn't answer well. Just focus on the next one and try to answer that to the best of your ability, right? That's what I would say from a tip perspective, right? Again, a few more questions here. I just want to wrap up, going back to some of the things I mentioned. Again, a lot of the shuttle runs coming up in August. Again, they're up on our website. Please go on opp.ca/events, so that way you can sign up and attend. August 13th, we'll be hosting our women's information session and shuttle run session at Mohawk College. Again, this is a women's targeted event hosted by our own recruiter Abby there. She's great. She'll be very, very engaging, informative. And for those of you that have thought about maybe making this career change, or you're looking to see how you can fit into this position or this organization, I truly, truly encourage you to attend. Because I don't think you'll be disappointed with some of the things that Abby will be talking about and sharing with you to really open up your mind about this career. August 26th and 27th, we will be hosting our OPP Bilingual Bound in Ottawa. I know I checked with Liz this morning, our outreach coordinator, and we're still accepting applications for it. So again, it'll be a very engaging and insightful event. And it's in Ottawa, so why not make a trip out there? It's always fun in the summertime, right? And finally, some of our virtual information sessions and our in-person information sessions at detachments, that's also going ahead this month. So if you're interested in coming out to our Mississauga detachment for our female candidates, or even the Aurelia detachment, please sign up and show up, so that way we can really talk to you about what it means to be an officer with the OPP and the opportunities that we have available. And like always, whether you're in the process, you're considering an application, or you're at the end, or you're at the start, just stick to it. Take it stage by stage, and before you know it, I'm sure you'll be getting a call from us for that next intake. And like I said, I want to wish all of our new graduates that graduated on this past Thursday, as they report to their detachments, respective detachments, to start their career, all the very best. And for all the people that are getting their calls as we speak for the August 30th intake, be patient, stick through it, and you'll get that call. All right. So in saying that, thank you everyone for joining me for another session of AMA on this beautiful Wednesday. Have a great week, and whether it's in person at our next session or wherever we see you, look forward to catching up and touching base, and look forward to seeing you and your application, opp.ca/careers. All right.